time player. I've been broke as a joke, I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sports Buzz, a Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Denver, Connecticut, on this March 28th, opening day of baseball. Little spring-like out there. Pretty nice day, as a matter of fact, for the locals who went down to the Bronx to check out the Yankees on opening day. And I think it was nice down in D.C. for the Mets. Results were certainly nice as the season gets underway, and we continue to just hope spring is here and here for good and getting better. So always good to open the baseball season and turn the calendar and get into a new season as well, weather-wise.
Speaking of weather's supposed to be nice for the weekend.
Yeah, I think maybe a little rain overnight tonight, tomorrow, but could be some nice weather this weekend.
Yeah, they said 60s over the weekend, so.
We will certainly take that. Let's officially say hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Broad Jr. Hello there, Bob.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
I'm doing good. You must be doing pretty good after a little 2-0 tidy little opening day game down there in Nationals Ballpark for your Mets.
It was great.
DeGrom, 6 strong, throws, strikes out 10 plus. And what do you know, Robbie Cano
connects.
in the first inning, first at bat. Welcome back to New York as a Metropolitan this time. Robbie Cano goes deep for the 1-0 lead. And then he gets the insurance run in the 9th.
Yeah.
Drives in both runs, and your Mets are winners, Bob.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And then, of course, those other guys in the Bronx, we don't talk about them.
Yeah. And speaking of spring-like weather, we got the nice reggae music on here in the studio. Maybe the guys can turn down that a little bit.
Turn it down a little bit. There you go.
Appreciate it.
So things look promising.
Yeah, well, you know, this is a way you guys want to get started. Let's tidy up all our business here.
Okay.
First, Bob's show, Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. Tyler is in there running the audio and doing his thing. And David Suero, of course, the director, doing his thing as well. And our phone number, 203-792-4101, if you would like to call. David is getting so accustomed to these graphics, Bob. What is he planning on? When are we going to get to see him doing one of his old shows coming back?
Hey, I hope I would like to see that. Maybe we'll have a whole crew to work on that.
Underground TV, Somos Latinos, Switch. What's the word in there? Is he in your ear? Is he giving us a clue? We're going to get to see one of his shows back on?
Not yet. It's coming. He said it's in the proverbial works.
All right. Well, we're happy he's here, working out the kinks with the new system before he breaks off and disappears on us, probably on his shows. All right, but the phone number 203-792-4101 is the number.
And we were talking about your Red Sox before the show. They're playing on the West Coast.
So for the first time ever, and I just checked the schedule, Bob. So tonight they open in Seattle. And how about this? They go 4 games in a row in Seattle to start. Games all at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Right.
4 o'clock on Sunday. And then they go right to Oakland on Monday for 4.
Right.
So no days off here to start the season. Usually with baseball, don't they usually like opening day, the big extravagant celebration, then there's like a built-in day off here or there, travel days? No, they're going to do back-to-back 4-game series out west, no days off. Then they don't get a day off again and they go to Arizona. So they're doing an 11-game road trip out west to start the season. So we're going to have to get into the season by checking scores in the middle of the night.
Right.
Because all the games are going to be starting at 10 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah, so
to get them going.
So then you said they don't start. They don't have
they
the
have
home
Monday
game
off,
is
and
against the Yankees on
It's
what?
actually 2 o'clock. They open against Toronto. And then I think they got the Yankees after. I'm pretty sure they're raising the banner against the Yankees, so the Yankees got to be soon after that because they're going to want to raise that
Right.
and get the rings early. But wow, what a interesting start to the season for the defending World Series champions.
I just wish them good luck out there.
I mean, 11 days with
That's
no
a long.
days off.
That's a
out
long
west
stretch
to
without
start the
a
year.
day off.
Very, very interesting. But yes, your Mets get what you want with Cano, with DeGrom. So how about this? Where's Strange Man Stat of the Week? I got it for her. He didn't chime in, but I'll give it to you right here, right now.
Okay.
For the first time ever in a National League opening day game, both pitchers struck out 10 plus.
Cool.
DeGrom got 10 plus and Scherzer got 10 plus, but the Mets get the win, and also your closer gets in there, gets a nice tidy save. So the bullpen and reconfigured bullpen looks good. DeGrom, of course, picked up right where he left off from last year,
Right.
and Cano steps in with a dinger in his first at bat. Yankees also did win today, 7-2 at home. Tanaka goes 5 2/3, allows 2 runs. Luke Voit with the damage early, 3-run homer. And Bird hit one late. Judge went 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored. So that's it.
Yeah, they banged up the Orioles bad in that first inning. Oof.
Did Voit get that in the first inning, the 3-run homer?
Yeah.
So right out of the gate, Yankees fans happy and feeling pretty good on a relatively nice day. A little chilly out there if you were sitting in the shady part of the stadium, but overall pretty good day out there. So that's baseball. That's what's going on there. Sweet 16 underway tonight, Bob, and it's going to be pretty good, I think, the next 4 days.
Okay, how many upsets do we have?
Really, none. In the first round, there were a few. UC Irvine beat Kansas State. Wofford beat Seton Hall. Buffalo beat Arizona State. Remember the Bobby Hurley?
Yes.
Bobby Hurley matchup. His old team beat him. And Murray State beat Marquette, and also Liberty beat Mississippi State. So certainly,
that's definitely an upset.
yeah, I mean, UC Irvine, Wofford, Buffalo, Murray State, and Liberty all coming up with wins. So that was nice in the first round, but nothing in the second round as far as upsets go. Oregon is the Cinderella at the number 12 seed, but Oregon was in the Final Four just 2 years ago.
Right.
And they're a Pac-12 school, so just because they were not playing, they came in with a lower ranking. But there's 14 Power 5 teams in. And 5 ACC teams, 3 Big Ten, 4 SEC, plus Gonzaga and Houston and Oregon. So tonight it's FSU versus Gonzaga. That's a 4 versus 1. You got a 3 versus a 2 in Purdue versus Tennessee.
That could be a very good game.
Purdue has played very well. Tennessee survived a couple scares, including an overtime thriller against Iowa. A game where they blew, I think it was a 25-point lead in that game before, and then almost getting jobbed by the ref.
Right.
And thankfully, they won it anyways because that would have been brutal. You've got a 3 versus 2 in Texas Tech versus Michigan. Michigan's also looked well.
Michigan's a tough team.
Yeah, Michigan's looked very good. Completely handled Florida and also Montana. And so they have looked very good. Texas Tech has been a little bit sneaky. They got rid of Buffalo after that upset and Northern Kentucky. So they haven't really been tested.
Right.
We'll see how they do against Michigan. Oregon as well, the 12 seed against number 1 Virginia.
Right.
And how about that on day 1? Virginia, Bob, were losing by double digits for the entire first half, and it was like deja vu all over again
Right.
with them, because you remember last year was the first time ever a 1 got beat by a 16, and you're thinking to yourself, is this going to happen again? But they got their act together, kind of closed out the first half well, and then really dominated in the second half and cruised to 71-56 victory over Garden Webb. And then they crushed Oklahoma 63-51. The final score in that is interesting when you think that Oklahoma scored 95 points in the round 1 game,
Right.
and then were held to 51 in round 2 against Virginia. So Virginia seems to have, shaken off the cobwebs and the nerves, really, from having what happened last year.
Right.
And they seem to be in a much better position now, and they get to play Oregon, so that's good for them. Tomorrow night, to round out this Sweet 16, you've got another 3 versus 2 in LSU versus Michigan State. LSU has survived twice. The second game, they beat Maryland 69-67.
I know, that was a
Close
very
one.
close game.
Yeah, Maryland was in 2 close games as they beat Belmont 79-77 and lost in the second one to LSU. And I think Maryland had to come away from that game thinking, how did we lose this game?
I know, because they were dominant
in the second half.
Yeah.
In the first half, it was all LSU, and then they really came back strong and really should have won that game, but they fell apart. Or it didn't really fall apart. It was just a matter of LSU made shots.
Right.
And they made the big play late to beat them. Auburn, number 5 seed versus number 1 North Carolina. And Auburn survived that scare in the first round. In that game, they held off New Mexico State. But then, how about this, Bob? They really looked good, crushing Kansas. We talked about Kansas wasn't a typical Kansas team this year last week.
Right.
But did we think Auburn was going to beat them 89-75? And the game was not that close.
No.
A 14-point win in the end, but it was like 25, 30 points at times in this game as Auburn really crushed them. So they'll take on North Carolina, who handled, North Carolina was down also in the first half against Iona in round 1 before really cruising and ramping it up in the second half. And then they handled Washington 81-59. A lot of blowouts, as a matter of fact, and we'll get to some of that in a second. Then you got Virginia Tech versus Duke.
Right.
Whoa. The Duke game against UCF, Bob. Did you see this game?
I saw part of it. I didn't get to see all of it.
Oh my God, the 7'6" guy for UCF. When he was on the court,
That's what I saw. I saw some of him. He is.
When he was on the court, UCF was like plus 17 in this game. As Mike the Met Maniac,
who are definitely happy of.
We'll let him
today.
get mic'd up. But Duke held on for a 77-76 win in this game. Of course, in what can only be termed as the most non-surprise ever in the history of the college basketball tournament, Taco Fall was in foul trouble throughout.
Yeah.
What were the chances a 7'6" guy for the opposing team against Duke was going to end up in foul trouble early in that game? And like I said, when he was on the court, they were plus 17. And they really did a great job. Of course, it was the matchup between Duke and Krzyzewski going against his first favorite son, Johnny Dawkins, who led them to their first ever Final Four.
Right.
They did not win with Johnny Dawkins, but that's what put Duke on the map back in the day, mid to late 80s. And his son, who we see here, just very upset after he played a tremendous game.
He did.
And he had a chance to win it with the tip-in at the buzzer on just a tremendous play. And the ball, how it didn't go down and in, rolled in and out at the buzzer, and UCF came away heartbroken, and Duke relieved as they win at 77-76. Lucky, to say the least. Only Duke, Bob, and Mike, who's mic'd up now, can come up with a 4-point play with 14 seconds left, down by 3.
You know, it's like clockwork, you know.
Unbelievable. Zion Williamson, who got away with a couple offensive fouls in this game, got away with one there, ran his play over, and then met the 7'6" Taco Fall at the rim. They called Fall's 5th foul on him, sent Williamson to the line for a 3-point play, and he missed the free throw. And then and I still can't believe nobody, and there you see the putback attempt at the buzzer. A tremendous play coming in on the rebound, trying to put it off the backboard and in, and he did everything right, but the ball did not go down. but nobody on the rebound on the missed free throw by Williamson has talked about this. Why did the Duke player get the rebound? Because he put two hands in the back of the UCF player and pushed him out of the way to get that rebound. And not a single commentator has mentioned that. Not all week long, I never heard anybody say it. When a guy jumps
what happens is they
straight
got
up
blinders on, you know?
You know, it's virtually impossible for a guy to jump straight up in the air
Right.
and then fly forward.
Right.
That only happens when somebody puts two hands in your back and pushes you out of the way. So he got the rebound and made the free throws for the 4-point play to give them the lead, and UCF comes up the loser. And then the other game in the Sweet 16 is number 3 Houston versus number 2 Kentucky. So you see, Bob, we got 1, 2 number 4s, 1, 2, 3, 4 number 3s, a number 5. We've got 4 number 1s and a number 12. So
The
it
number
is
12 is the
and
really?
AAC being represented by Houston, who has also looked very good, crushing Ohio State and crushing Georgia State. So Houston's looked very good, and I'm looking forward to seeing them against Kentucky.
Women's bracket?
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a minute. I want to finish up on the men's and also give Mike a chance to say if, well, let's just get to that. How'd you feel about your Mets today? We already talked about it a little bit, but had to feel good. 2-0.
Yeah.
DeGrom, 10-plus Ks, only 6 innings. Were you nervous when they pulled him out after 6?
No, I thought it was the right time for them to pull up out because you got to remember it's the first game of the season.
Yeah,
You know, you got to let
early in
him
the
kind
year.
of work into it.
Right.
He pitched well. He pitched well in a lot of different situations. Like the pitch to Soto was nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that pitch?
I was listening to it on the radio. Was that the
Oh,
breaking
man.
ball where he struck him out?
It's one of those pitches. If you see Soto's reaction, he almost like he stomped the ground and he was gonna break his bat, like he was gonna hit the ground with his bat, and he was like, okay, first game of the season, okay. But it was a nasty pitch.
He had a couple. I know one of the guys threw his bat.
Yeah, it was.
One of the guys threw his bat that ended up in the netting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did he throw it, or was that on that swing where he let go of it?
I think it was on the swing.
I
He
think
let
so,
go. I
on
don't
the
think he
swing,
had enough-
yeah.
The announcers on the radio didn't clarify that. And I did mention to Bob, the stat of the week is that for the first time ever in a National League game, and only second time ever, it happened once in the American League, both pitchers had 10-plus Ks on an opening day game. So pitching duel to get it going, and then you also had to feel good. Cano with the 2 RBIs and the first inning homer, and then your new closer, Diaz, gets it done.
Yeah, he is.
So pretty
His first
good.
pitch was 98 miles per hour.
Yeah.
98, right? Came
Yeah.
right out of spring training throwing gas. All right, and so let's look at some other things. So as far as close games go in the tournament, back to that. Maryland was in 2 of them. They beat Belmont by 2, lost to LSU by 2. Auburn had the 1-point game against New Mexico State. Tennessee and Iowa went overtime. We mentioned Duke and UCF, a 1-point game. So there was, some other games their teams got really tested. There was definitely some scares, but games as far as the final score didn't come down to final possession. Those were the only games that came down to final possession. But Virginia, North Carolina, first half scares. Kentucky got scared against Wofford, only beat them 62-56. Auburn, we mentioned. Tennessee going overtime after blowing a huge lead. Duke and LSU is involved in a couple. So, overall, but how about this? 11 of the 16 games in the round of 32 ended in double-digit victory point spreads. A lot of blowouts. So the tournament, and then how about, we mentioned Kansas getting crushed. How about defending champion Villanova? 87-61, destroyed right there in Hartford. That game was played against Purdue. So Purdue, I think, has looked very good. We'll see, though. It's going to be interesting. I like Purdue against Tennessee.
How's your bracket look, Mike?
I have 13 or 14 out of 16. Yeah, so it's doing like about at least 3 of them.
You got a lot left. It sounded
Yeah.
like Tyler in there had all his 4 Final Fours and then some left. So I would think a lot of people have a lot of brackets surviving because there haven't been a ton of upsets. So there's been no real bracket-busting defeat anywhere. So it's going to be good. We'll see. Ladies' side of the tournament, UConn beat Townsend, and then they held off Buffalo. They had a big lead in this game. The paper tried to make it out like this game got pretty close. I read how close it got. It didn't seem like it got that close, but maybe as close as they've had in a while in a round 2 game as they held them off. They get to take on UCLA. We mentioned last week they had a chance to take on some other big name teams, but they all got knocked out. So they're going to miss out on playing Tennessee, done. Maryland's also done, and Rutgers also done. So they got Buffalo instead of any of those teams, and now UCLA.
I'm surprised both Maryland's men and women got knocked out.
Yeah, and then they still looking ahead, could face on their side of the bracket Louisville and then Notre Dame. So they still got potential for that.
A headache already, so.
Louisville's taking on Oregon State, Mississippi State, Stanford on the top half of that draw, Texas A&M and Notre Dame. On the other side, it's Baylor, South Carolina, NC State, Iowa, Mississippi State, Arizona State, San Diego State versus Oregon for the ladies. We'll see. I did want to mention also Quinnipiac for the second time, maybe the third time in recent years, was in the tournament. So another Connecticut team doing well. They did get knocked out in the first round this time around against South Dakota State.
Right.
So they didn't go get a win, but they did get a win a couple years ago in this tournament. So Quinnipiac is a team to pay attention to locally if you're into that. And also I thought it was worth mentioning on the ladies' side of the Frozen Four hockey tournament, where was that Final Four played? At Quinnipiac, as a matter of fact. So if you wanted to see big-time college women's hockey, you could have seen the championship get played up at Quinnipiac this past weekend. And the men's Quinnipiac team also back in the Frozen Four tournament, and they're playing Arizona State this weekend as they get it going. So Quinnipiac athletic program doing pretty well.
Right.
NBA action, Celtics. How about this for more strange stats of the week? Now 6-0 in their last 6 games played without Kyrie Irving,
Right.
11-2 on the year.
Right.
Interesting, as they had lost 4 in a row, but they beat the Cavs the other night with Kyrie resting. They are 44-31. The Pacers 45-30. The Pacers are 3-7 in their last 10. Yet the Celtics still can't catch and pass them for the 4th seed in home court. I mean, give me a break. They're doing everything they can to give you home court in the first round, and they still can't catch them. But they play them tomorrow night in Boston before playing Brooklyn Saturday. The Nets. 6, 7, and 8 seeds are very interesting right now. The Nets 38-37, Pistons 37-37.
Okay, got it.
Magic have jumped ahead of the Heat into the 8th seed. Did anybody see the Magic even competing for a playoff spot this year? You know anybody on this team?
No.
Do you know who the coach is?
No.
I'm not going to give you the answer because I don't either. But they are now in the playoffs. If it started today, the Heat at 36-38, the Hornets, who came from 18 down against the Celtics in the 4th quarter to win the other night, have now won 4 in a row. They're 36-38. So 1 game out in the loss column. The Hornets are. I got that wrong there. I don't have the right number there. But they are, that was a really sloppy job of my notes right there. 35 and something.
Yeah.
I only wrote one part of the number down. Not good of me. But they're at the Lakers. They have won 4 in a row. And they had the buzzer beater by Jeremy Lamb hit the half-court heave from 3 to beat Toronto the other night to keep their season chances scarcely alive as they try to get it done. Magic are home for the Pistons, so we got some matchups with these teams fighting it out. And the Nets are at the Sixers before playing the Celtics this weekend. So it's pretty tight for those there's like 4 or 5 teams fighting for the last 3 spots. We'll see what happens. In the Western bracket, right now it would be Spurs versus Warriors in round 1. If it's not, it'll be Warriors versus OKC. So
That could be a very good matchup.
either one of those is going to be interesting. In the NHL, the Islanders have struggled recently, not doing good. They have now fallen to the 3rd spot in the Metro, although they are realistically tied with the Penguins. Don't look now, Penguins 6-2-2 in their last 10, Bob. Don't like that.
I don't want to hear that, Penguins, please.
Don't like that at all.
No.
Caps in
Penguins
front
need to lose.
at 98, and the Islanders at 95. Their Blue Jackets creeping up on them at 88 points for the wild card. Carolina actually creeping closer at 91, so only 4 points with like 5 games
Right.
left. It's getting tight. Bruins lost to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay remains the top team in all of hockey at 122 points. Bruins, second best team in all of hockey at 103, but they gave up 3 goals in the 3rd period to Tampa the other day in Tampa Bay, so that wasn't good. And Montreal is still the wild card. Behind them, Toronto is holding on to the 3rd seed in the Atlantic. We'll see what's going on there. In the West, 5 teams from the Central look like they're going to get in. Stars and Avalanche moving into that final wild card playoff spot. Arizona 2 points out, so not decided yet, but we'll see what happens. But it looks like 5 teams will come out of the Pacific, or out of the Central, and only 3 out of the Pacific. All right, the final minute and a half or so of the show is going to be dedicated to my man Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, retiring after how many years?
Surprise, only 9 seasons. I would have thought it was more like 11 or so.
And how many Super Bowls?
Played in 5, injured in one of those, played possum against your Giants,
He was asleep.
and won 3. 16 playoff games.
Huh?
16 playoff games. He had 81 catches, 1,163 yards, and 12 touchdowns, which is second only to Jerry Rice for postseason touchdowns. McFadden, how do you feel about Gronkowski leaving?
Bye-bye, Mr. Gronkowski,
good
because he
friend
kills,
Andy.
yes. The Jets are very happy. Hey,
good
we'll
friend
drive
Andy.
him to the airport.
Yeah, drive him to the airport. My good friend
Absolutely.
Andy, a big Jets fan, said good riddance, of course. 9 years, 79 touchdowns for Gronk. Gronk smash, Gronk destroy. Should have been the MVP in the Super Bowl this year. I think he was the key player with his blocking, big catches late, and just being the presence that he was. Ultimate team player. Love the Gronk. All right, are we done?
Are we done?
I think we are out of here. I see.
Say goodbye.
All right, we will see you next week, and we'll see who's in the Final Four.